Since the beginning of mankind, we have resorted to harmful fossil fuels and wasteful, non-renewable energy to power our planet. But that stops now.
Tidal power. Tidal power is a form of hydropower that converts the energy from the natural rise and fall of the tides into electricity. Tides are caused by the combined effects of gravitational forces exerted by the moon, the sun, and the rotation of the earth. Tidal plants can only be installed along coastlines. Coastlines often experience 2 high tides and 2 low tides on a daily basis. The difference in water levels must be at least 5 meters high to produce electricity. Tidal electricity can be created from several technologies, the main ones being tidal barrages, tidal fences, and tidal turbines. Tidal barrages are the most efficient tidal energy sources. A tidal barrage is a dam that utilizes the potential energy generated by the change in height between high and low tides. This energy turns a turbine or compresses air, which in turn creates electricity. Tidal fences are turbines that operate like giant turnstiles, whereas tidal turbines are similar to wind turbines, only underwater. In both cases, electricity is generated when the mechanical energy of tidal currents turns turbines connected to a generator. The generator produces electricity. Ocean currents generate relatively more energy than air currents because ocean water is 832 times more dense than air.
No longer will we be bystanders watching our air be polluted by greenhouse gases that are suffocating the planet Earth. With tidal power energy, we can prevent further damage that has previously been caused by fossil fuels, and we will create a greener lifestyle.
You may or may not know that tidal energy is not a brand new idea. Tidal energy was first used in Europe for grain mills to function over 1,000 years ago.
Not only was tidal energy used to turn water wheels to mill grains, in 1920 Dexter Cooper invented the idea of creating power from tides. He was one of the first to have an idea like this, but definitely not the last. In 1965, the French created the first commercial-scale, modern tidal power plant. It was placed in the Rance estuary near Saint-Malo, France, and it was very efficient. Over a total of 24 turbo generators were in place, and even to this day, the plant is creating clean energy.
By using tidal power energy, we as a society will be able to decrease global warming associated with fossil fuel-generated electricity. As well as this, the use of tidal energy could also decrease the need for nuclear power because of the fact that the energy is a renewable source of electricity that does not result in the emission of gases. Besides the earthly benefits that come along with this idea, there are also many practical benefits as well. For example, tidal energy is effective at low tidal speeds, which means that the turbines can turn more slowly, minimizing impacts to local ecosystems. It can also be a less costly resource, both in terms of construction and maintenance costs, compared to other renewable energy sources. Finally, the major benefit of tidal power is that it has 0 carbon emissions, so we're reducing our society's carbon footprint.
On our planet right now, the largest facility using tidal power so far is the Siwa Lake Tidal Power Station in South Korea. The Siwa Tidal Power Plant generates one-way power twice a day at high tide. The gates are closed as the tide comes in, which isolates the reservoir at its lowest level. When the tide is high, water then flows from the West Sea to Siwa Lake through the 10 turbines, which then generate electricity. With the 10 water turbine generators, each power plant produces 552.7 gigawatts per hour of electricity annually, which is enough to support the domestic needs of the city with a population of 500,000 people.
On top of the renewability of this energy source, there are many more advantages, including low environmental impact in the water, no greenhouse gas emissions in the air, and predictable energy levels due to the extensive research our scientists already have on tide patterns. Tidal power turbines are also very easy to install and decrease the overall need for nuclear power.
Though initial construction costs may be seen as a con due to its high price, in the end, it is worth it if we want to have a greener planet. The only other limitation is location, because the power plants have to be built along the coastline in order to capture both high and low tide. But fortunately for us, Earth contains thousands of miles of coastlines for us to use.
There is an enormous amount of potential energy that could be created from tidal power. It is calculated that close to 1 terawatt of usable power is in the world's ocean. This amount of energy could power 10 billion 100-watt light bulbs at once if we use our resources wisely. The future of tidal power is endless, including the amount of jobs that can grow from this power source along not only the coast but also on mainlands. It has the potential to enhance the amount of economic growth at the same time that it's reducing carbon footprints.
The oceans contain roughly over double the amount of electricity demand. We need to make the change now to help our world sooner before it's too late. With the newfound ocean technology, we could cut the carbon dioxide emissions down, and we can make a safer future for mankind.